Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I am your host, T, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the death of Doomsday Mom Lori Daybell's brother, Alex Cox. Do me a favor, please like, share, and subscribe. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. Doomsday Mom Lori Daybell was recently found guilty for her role in the conspiracy to unalive Brandon Boudreaux. Boudreaux was married to Lori's niece, Melanie, who is now Melanie Pawlowski. When Lori met Chad Daybell in late 2018, Melanie was with her. Now, Melanie is the daughter of Lori's deceased older sister, Stacy, who died when Melanie was just 9 years old. Melanie and Brandon have 4 children together. During prosecutor Trina Kay's closing arguments, she talked about an alleged co-conspirator who has yet to be charged and hauled into a courtroom, Melanie Pawlowski. Lori brought up Melanie as well. At times, she seemed to defend Melanie, but then during her closing arguments, Lori essentially threw Melanie under the bus, insinuating in not so many words that Melanie may be behind the attempt on Brandon's life, because of course it couldn't have been Lori. Many people, myself included, are hoping that Melanie Pawlowski will be charged because they believe, and some of the circumstantial evidence seems to point to, Melanie participating in the plan against Brandon. Unfortunately, a prosecutor said yesterday on East Idaho News that if prosecutors were going to go after Melanie Pawlowski, they would have already done it when they charged Lori Vallow Daybell. That prosecutor felt that Melanie will likely never be charged, and that was a punch in the gut because we learned so much about Melanie's text messages, her phone calls, and her activities with both her Aunt Lori and her Uncle Alex during the critical days surrounding the day Brandon Boudreaux was targeted for the hereafter on October 2nd, 2019. All of this took me back to Alex Cox's sudden and suspicious death. Some of us who have followed this case do not believe that Alex's death on December 12th of 2019 was purely natural. So many details surrounding his passing throw up red flags. And you have to wonder, did somebody unalive Alex? And if so, who? Let's talk about it. I'm going to go through the red flags. First off, on December 11th, 2019, which is the day before Alex died, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, with the assistance of the Utah Office of the Medical Examiner, exhumed Tammy Daybell's remains and then performed an autopsy. When Tammy suddenly died on the night of October 19th, 2019, the Fremont County Coroner, Brenda Dye, no pun intended, her last name is really Dye, D-Y-E. She initially concluded that Tammy died of pulmonary edema due to a cardiac event. Pulmonary edema is a condition caused by too much fluid in the lungs. Fluid collects in the air sacs or alveoli of the lungs, and it makes it hard to breathe. This fluid can be the result of heart disease, pneumonia, and other causes. My dad actually just had pleural fluid removed from around his left lung to make it easier for him to breathe. He does have heart disease, and getting that fluid off has really helped. But it sounds like Tammy did not have heart disease or pneumonia. And Chad Daybell, right from the start, was pretty much singing into Dye's ears. And he was filling her head with misinformation about Tammy, such as saying she'd been feeling off for a few months and that her health had been declining. It does seem like Chad Daybell, despite being such a colossal doofus, is able to convince people of batshit crazy stuff. So maybe his beady black eyes worked their dark magic on Brenda Dye. Now, Dye was later contacted by police in Arizona after Chad's name was connected to an unaliving, which I believe was Charles Vallow, and an attempted unaliving, which was Brandon Boudreaux. This is why Tammy's body was exhumed 2 months after her death, and Dye performed an autopsy. The autopsy led Dye to amend Tammy's cause of death to murder, and her means of death to asphyxiation by suffocation. I keep having images of Tammy asleep in her bed and then being awakened, oh my goodness, by her husband, Chad, I think, and also a stranger, Alex Cox. Can you imagine? Or did she never see their faces? Was this a matter of them putting a pillow somewhere where it made it impossible for her to breathe? We don't know. Brenda Dye testified that Tammy had a very deep bruise on her arm, and her stomach contents did not match Chad's report that she had thrown up. I think that deep bruise was from somebody holding her down. Dye also noted that Tammy's vital organs looked healthy except for her lungs, which were full of pink foam. Dye said, quote, "There shouldn't have been foam in the lungs still," end quote. So that pink foam still being present in Tammy's lungs seemed to be screaming that her death was not natural. And note that during Chad Daybell's trial, people noticed that he did not seem distraught when photos of Tammy's body in their bed were shown. Tammy's biological family members cried at that sight, but not Chad. This tells me he's one cold cookie, just like his bride here, Lori. Honestly, I think they deserve each other. But let's get back to Alex. So Alex suddenly dies 1 day after Tammy's body is exhumed. The medical examiner ruled in May of 2020 that Alex's cause of death was bilateral pulmonary thromboemboli, and his manner of death was natural. The report indicated that Alex died of blood clots wedged in the arteries of his lungs. High blood pressure was also said to have played a role. But to me, it's interesting that both Tammy and Alex were originally said to have issues with their lungs. This makes me wonder if Alex, perhaps seeing the writing on the wall and that the cops were closing in, could he have possibly taken something poisonous to unalive himself? Or did somebody else secretly give him something that triggered his deaths? Supporting this notion are the following facts. 1. On November 14th of 2019, Zulema Pastenes, who again she ended up married to Alex. Well, Zulema met up with Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell on November 14th of 2019 during their 6-hour layover in Mesa, Arizona. They'd gotten married in Hawaii on November 5th. Lori and Chad secured a hotel room at the 4 Points Sheraton Hotel in Mesa, right next to the airport. Why would Chad and Lori get a hotel room for a 6-hour layover? And why did Zulema go there to meet up with them? Could this have been when the three of them met to maybe discuss unaliving Alex? Did Lori and Chad hand over a bag of cash to Zulema in exchange for her agreeing to unalive Alex by giving him something poisonous that maybe would not be detected by the authorities. It sounds crazy, but you gotta admit this whole case is crazy, so anything is possible. But it is pure speculation right now. The authorities haven't ever mentioned that this could be the case, and they haven't charged anybody for Alex's death. Maybe to the authorities it's like, hey, this weird, very violent dude died while pooping, and he had blood clots in his lungs and high blood pressure, which apparently runs in his family. End of story. But not so fast. Let's continue with our red flags. 2. A little under a month later, on December 7th, 2019, according to Zulema, Alex drove to Algodones, Mexico to buy prescriptions because they were cheaper for him there. The Gilbert police confirmed that Alex did cross into and out of Mexico on that same day. The question is, what exactly did Alex buy? Did he purchase anything that could have been used to unalive himself? Again, this is me speculating. 3. On December 10th, 2019, which was 2 days before his death, Alex asked Chad to give him a blessing because he was having a bad attack and he couldn't breathe. Chad gave Alex the blessing. That's a strange coincidence, don't you think? Or is it? Note that December 10th, 2019 is also when Lori and Chad moved into a condo at the villas on the Prince community in Princeville, Hawaii. The rent there, just for your inside info, was between $3,000 to $4,000 a month, and the condo was right across from where Lori had lived with Charles Vallow. Now, if your husband had died, would you want to live across the street from where you had lived with that husband? Especially if you had unalived him? Another sign of how cold this bitch with the blonde hair is. So at that point, Chad and Lori were already pretty much abandoning Alex and leaving him in the U.S. to deal with the cops if the cops came a-knockin'. 4. Zulema Pastenes, who married Alex only 12 days before he died, testified at Lori Daybell's 2023 Idaho trial that she walked into a room where Alex was talking on the phone on December 11th, 2019, and just happened to hear Lori and Chad tell Alex that Tammy was being exhumed. So Alex may have been freaking out that he was gonna get caught for the role that he allegedly played in Tammy's death. That news could not have been welcome for Alex, Lori, and Chad. 5. On December 11th, 2019, the same day that Tammy was exhumed, Alex and Chad had a text exchange about Alex still not feeling well. Alex expressed concern that, quote, the poison from the spear in the heart had done some residual damage, end quote. Alex tested Chad that he's winded every time he stands up, and he has a pulse rate or a resting pulse rate of 100 beats per minute. Note that according to Mayo Clinic, a normal resting heart rate for an adult male ranges from 60 to 100 beats per minute. So Alex was definitely on the high end of the scale. 6. On December 12th of 2019, Alex died at 4:19 p.m. at Zulema's home in Gilbert, Arizona. Zulema's 25-year-old son, Joseph Lopez, is the person who found Alex unresponsive in the bathroom. Alex had lost control of his bowels. Poor Alex, he went to take a poop, and instead pooped on the floor, not on the toilet, and then he died. Sorry, but I have no sympathy for Alex Cox. In my opinion, he was pure evil, and so he deserves to die in such an undignified way. And I'm actually hoping that maybe Lori Daybell will eventually die on an ice-cold steel commode in prison, perhaps while she's pooping. Yes, Joseph calls 911 and refers to Alex as his mother's boyfriend. This revealed that he didn't even know that his mom had married Alex, and Alex had decided to change his last name from Cox to Pastenes, which makes me wonder if Dum-Dum Alex thought that by changing his name, he could escape being identified as Alex Cox, the family annihilator. Investigators requested an expanded toxicology from the medical examiner's office for Alex, and the Gilbert PD executed a search warrant on Zulema's home, where they found a weapon, a bag of cash, and Chad Daybell's books. I wonder if Chad signed them for them. Those could be collector's items now, don't you think? 7. On the same day, Zulema tells the Gilbert PD several lies. She tells them that Alex had 6 siblings, but didn't have much communication with them. Lie. Alex was very close to Lori, and he was also in communication with his brother Adam. Zulema said she'd only met Lori a few times when Lori lived in Arizona. Lie. We know they were hanging out together, doing castings. Zulema also said she hadn't seen Lori since she moved to Idaho a few months before. And Zulema also said she didn't think that Lori was married. Zulema tells the cops that Alex left her the bag of cash in the event something happened to him, and she estimates that the cash in the bag is about $5,000 to $7,000. Are you kidding me? You don't, count it? You've got a bag of cash like that? But how do we know who really gave the money to Zulema? Is it possible that Chad Daybell and Lori maybe handed that cash over to Zulema when she met with them in Mesa, Arizona at that hotel near the airport? And is it possible that Chad and Lori wanted Alex dead because he could then serve as their fall guy and take all the blame for all the unalivings if the cops ever figured out what really happened to Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, JJ Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and it also almost happened to Brandon Boudreaux? Well, they did figure all that out. But could that cash have been from Tammy's life insurance monies? And was it given to Zulema as maybe payment for helping get Alex across the veil, moving from life to death? Maybe. 8. We know that Chad Daybell and Lori had a thing for malachite wedding rings. Malachite, in case you don't know, is a mineral that's often called the stone of transformation. It's also used in energy healings, and it was mentioned in a document allegedly written by Melanie Pulowski's husband, Ian. Per Ian, Melanie told him about Lori's religious beliefs, and one of them was that malachite had healing properties. Note that malachite can be toxic if it is ingested or inhaled in dust form, and that's because of its copper content. Symptoms of ingesting powdered malachite can include irritation to the respiratory tract, shortness of breath, and coughing. Long-term exposure to powdered malachite can cause severe adverse effects, again from the copper poisoning. So it is a dangerous substance when in powdered form. I tried to find out if the authorities would be able to detect malachite poisoning through an autopsy/toxicology report. The only thing I could find was a white paper on the National Institutes of Health website. It said that toxicity data from malachite green is not complete because most reports do not adequately identify the purity of the malachite green chloride. So, me not being an expert in these things, I can't tell you whether or not anybody would have been able to detect malachite poisoning in Alex Cox. All I can say is that nothing in this whole horrific saga would surprise me. If Alex had lived, he obviously would have been charged with the same crimes as Lori. Knowing that Alex died so suddenly, just like Tammy Daybell did, you have to wonder, was it homicide? But note that Zulema is the person who called her son Joseph on the day Alex died, and she asked him to check on Alex. Only then did Joseph find Alex on the floor of the bathroom, gasping for air as vomit came out of his mouth and beep came out of his arse. Joseph called 911 at that point. Again, the medical examiner determined that Alex died of natural causes, those blood clots wedged in the arteries of his lungs, and his high blood pressure. Did Zulema ask Joseph to check on Alex just because she knew her new husband hadn't been feeling well? Or did she know she'd given him something to hasten his death? This is pure speculation. Again, Zulema has not been charged in connection to any of the deaths in this story. But when the police arrived at the hospital after Alex died, they asked to speak with Zulema. According to the detective, Zulema asked him why she was being questioned and if she was considered a suspect in her husband's death. That's weird. Why would Zulema automatically assume that she was a suspect in Alex's death? Did she think it was a red rum? She just thinking that everything looked weird and therefore they would automatically suspect that she had something to do with it? I mean, that's exactly what Wendy Adelson did when she was driven to the police station after her ex-husband, Dan Markell, was unalived. Sadly, Alex's body was cremated. How convenient, right? So we probably will never be able to feel satisfied that he really did die of natural causes. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please consider a membership as well. I'm going to be creating more membership-only content because anybody who supports me deserves it so much. So thank you, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Love ya. Happy Father's Day to anybody who's a daddy out there.
The ambulance to, yes.
Why do you need an ambulance?
I have a older male, a middle-aged male.
He is breathing?
Yes, he's breathing, but very, very highly breathing.
Okay, let me transfer you to Mesa, or the medics. Do not hang up.
Okay.
Is this due to a
Fire and medical, what is the address of your emergency?
Go over with it.
Caller, are you on the line? Hello, is
Hello?
anyone there?
Yes, this is it. I'm here.
Okay, you're for...
That's correct.
Okay, what is the emergency?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Okay, is he awake
Are you
right
breathing?
now?
I think he's passed out.
Okay, you think he's unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. Is he breathing normally, like you can see his chest rising and falling? Hello?
I hope so.
I have the paramedics on the way, but I need you to try to help me with some information while they're driving there to help him. Okay?
Okay.
How old is he?
He seems to be in his 40s.
Okay. Do you know him?
No, it's my mother's boyfriend.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay. I have the paramedics on the way, so he's in the restroom right now.
Correct.
Gilbert, can we get you started?
I'm already en route.
All right, thank you. Okay, is he on his back or on his stomach? Where is he at?
He's on his side.
Okay. Can you lay him flat on his back on the ground?
I'll try. It's just there's feces there, and I'm trying to just keep cool right now.
You said he's what?
There's feces on the ground.
Okay. I know that's gross, but if we can just go ahead and get him flat on his back, I want to make sure he's breathing, because if he's not, we're going to do a few things.
Gotcha.
Did you say he's cool, like cold?
Alex. Alex. Alex, we gotta get you on your back. Alex,
Does he seem more awake or more asleep?
he's more passed out.
Okay. Is he opening his eyes or moving at all?
He's breathing.
Okay. Is he breathing normally, like his chest is rising and falling? He's not making any weird sounds?
Yeah, he's making a very exhale sound like.
Okay. If he's doing that, we need to start CPR, so I need you to get him flat on his back on the ground.
Okay. I'll do that.
Let me know when he's flat on his back, and we're going to give you instructions, okay?
Okay. Alex.
What is your first name?
I don't think I could do that, man.
I know this is difficult, but you're only helping him, okay? I know, the paramedics.
I don't think I could
What
do
is
that.
your
I have
name?
anxiety and depression.
Okay, what's your
I have
name?
anxiety and depression. I can't.
What is your name?
My name's Joseph.
Joseph? Okay, Joseph. The best thing for us to do for him right now is to... So if you'll just take...
Oh, fuck.
I know it's not ideal, but you're doing a really good job by helping him if you can do that, okay?
Oh. Yo, Alex. Alex. He's not breathing. No. No, he's too big.
Okay, just try to get him on his back so we can do chest compression.
My mother just got here.
Okay, give her the phone then.
So, did she say the mother just got there?
Yeah.
Come here. Come here.
And we're coming on Mineral right now.
Really
We're
bad.
almost there.
It's really bad. Come upstairs in the bathroom. We need to get him on his back.
Can you put your mom on the phone?
She's right here. You're on speaker.
Okay, ma'am, the paramedics are pulling up, but in the meantime, we need him to get flat on his back, and we need to give him chest compressions, okay?
Chest compression. Wait. But
Does she know how to do CPR?
yes. She knows how.
Okay.
How far are you?
We're pulling up out front right now, so they're grabbing their equipment and they're coming in. Are you on the first floor or the second?
We're on the second floor.
Second floor in the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, and the door is unlocked?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, do you see the paramedics now?
Yes.
Okay, Joseph, you did a good job. I know that was really scary, but thank you for your help, okay?
Joseph,
Okay,
before
thank
you
you.
hang up, Joseph, before you hang up, I need your last name.
Okay.
Joseph, let the paramedics do their business and tell me what your last name is.
Lopez.
Joseph, what's your last name?
Lopez.
Okay. And what's your date of birth, Joseph? Alex's last name.
I don't know.
You don't know his name?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you let the officer in?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm going to let you go. Bye-bye.